Good morning, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome back to HowToTrade.com, and a warm welcome back to one of my live streams, of course, here across our social media channels. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, X, and also we are live in our trading room, of course. It's good to see everybody, and I hope everyone has had a good trading week so far. Is still ready for some action that we're expecting today in the form of the ECB interest rate decision. That's the European Central Bank, who are set to deliver its next interest rate decision, really all in preparation. This is for the Federal Reserve's decision, who really has the grip on the markets. But for those of you who trade European markets, maybe euro dollar or any euro related pair, it's going to be a big day for you, and we're probably going to see some volatility across European markets as that decision comes out. So the idea of today's stream is I'm going to do a couple of things actually. I'm going to break down obviously the ECB rate decision. It's not going to take too long, and therefore I thought towards the end of the stream, for like the last 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to go through the trend rider strategy, because I noticed that I didn't have a stream scheduled in for it this week, and I'm not sure if I've done one last week, but I've just noticed there's potentially some trend rider opportunities coming up. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's one of our strategies that's in our How to Trade trading room, which you can access in the academy. So I want to do that at the end as well. I think otherwise we're going to be, the stream will be too short. So if anyone does have any questions on the ECB, any questions on anything to do with the market, something you're confused about, then these streams are always a good time to bring those questions to me, because I can answer them for you live on the stream, which is good. Hello to everyone in the trading room. Good to see you. Dibble, very good morning to you. Thank you very much. Machine X, hello to you. Good morning, Connor. He's got a question already. Good morning, Connor. Great day to make some good trades, of course. Could you please take a quick look on the stream? Got some lined up already on. Euro dollar long, sterling CAD long since yesterday, pound dollar long since yesterday, DAX short, NZD Swiss long, US 100 short, USD 30 short. Happy days. So a lot of markets there. I'll try and get through as many of them as I possibly can. We'll probably just condense the indices into one. It seems like you've got quite a lot of exposure in short on equities, which is quite risky in my opinion. But I'll have a look at. Definitely going to look at euro dollar as well, so I'll make sure I take a look at those as well. Hello to all of you in the YouTube channel, or on the YouTube channel, and on Facebook and X as well. Hello to you. Good morning to you, and I hope you are doing well. So if you're unaware of what to look for today, head over to the How to Trade website, go over to resources and onto trading tools, and make sure you start viewing our economic calendar, because it tells you when these big events are coming out. If you filter that impact to high impact, you will notice that in 3 hours and 10 minutes time, that's 1:15 UK time, we've got the ECB rate decision, and also 15 minutes later we've got the PPE out of the US, the PPI out of the US. So that's going to be quite a volatile couple of hours for euro dollar, so we're definitely going to touch on that today. Hopefully I can find a nice trade idea on that. As you can see, what we're looking at in terms of the decisions, where it says ECB rate on deposit facility, that is just the fancy term of saying interest rates. The previous interest rate, or the current interest rate in Europe, the main refinancing operations rate is the fancy way of saying interest rate. Currently at 4.25%. We're expected a 25 basis point rate cuts down to 4% today. Is that important? Well, you can see the articles out online are basically saying, prepare for the ECB to cut rates for the first time in 13 years. That's crazy. That's the first time the ECB would have cut rates in 13 years. And if you read some of these articles that you see, market rates and expectations, you can see the rate cut itself is widely anticipated. So we shouldn't really expect a massive directional move off the back of the release. And therefore, you're probably thinking, well, where do I see the volatility? Well, the volatility is likely to come from the monetary policy statement. And unfortunately, if you're not into your fundamentals, it can be a tricky time when you got central bank decisions, because there's a lot of technical jargon in these reports. It's hard to determine unless you've got experience as to whether it's hawkish or dovish, or whether it's positive for the euro or negative for the euro, and that can be quite confusing. We have got a fundamental course in our trading academy. If you're looking to brush up on those fundamentals, I'd recommend you just go over to HowToTrade.com and start to join our trading academy. It's completely free, and you will get a better understanding of fundamentals as we go. So we don't go too heavy on the fundamentals here, but it is important to talk about at least when those events are coming out and what we should be focusing on. I know there's a few people in the room who are more heavy on the fundamentals. So that's going to be important. And then probably just as important, if not probably more important, is the ECB press conference, which you get half an hour after the release and the monetary policy statement. That's basically where Christine Lagarde, the president of the leader of the European Central Bank, will come out and ask and answer questions from the press. And she will have to, explain her reasoning behind the cuts. And really what people are looking for, because markets are always forward thinking, is how many more cuts is she hinting at in the future, if you see what I mean. So a more dovish approach would be to, hint to the public that there's more cuts coming, and maybe the aggressiveness of those cuts are going to be, fairly more aggressive than what we'd expect. And if that happens, then we should see some euro downside, the currency downside. If she comes out and she's more hawkish in her stance, which basically means that, she's going to say, I don't know, because it's hard to know what language she's going to use, but things like, we're not going to cut rates too quickly, we're not going to cut rates by a lot, we're going to take it nice and slow, and all those sorts of languages where they're not really hinting at too many cuts in the future, then that is a more hawkish approach, and that would mean some euro upside. What do I expect? Well, it's really it's whatever she comes out and says. It's a bit of a difficult one because we're at that point in time where the policy's shifting towards cutting rates, and we've been so used to hiking rates. So I'm not quite sure, if I'm being brutally honest, how the markets are going to react to it. And so it's a little bit of a no trade situation for me. I mean, and originally off the back of the release, but could definitely get some opportunities lining up for a few days after anyway. Aldolphus, hello to you, joining from Nigeria. I hope you are doing well, and thank you very much. And what's the effect of the rate cut on gold? If you're talking about gold prices as in XAU USD, then not a great deal. But remember, it depends what you trade gold in, because you can trade gold denoted in dollars, where it says XAU USD, right? That's gold denoted in dollars. However, you can trade XAU Euro, which is gold against the euro. So if you're trading that today, then it will have an impact. As I said, a more dovish approach would mean euro downside, which would likely mean gold against the euro would tick higher. A more dovish approach, and gold's gains will be limited. It's not the only factor affecting gold versus the euro. Obviously, you've got the gold story, but that will have some sort of impact. But only if you're trading really gold versus the euro currency, to be honest. Okay, Waldo, hello to you. Very good morning to you. Thank you very much for the message. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you joining into the stream today. And Dan, hello to you. Good morning. I hope you're doing well as well. Had a good week in the markets, hopefully, Dan. And I'm looking forward to what's coming today. I've got to say, it's been a really slow start this morning. I've been sort of scouting around the markets trying to find some opportunities, and I'm not finding a great deal. In the lead up to the event itself, in the lead up to the event itself, we're seeing the euro slightly higher. So slight positive sentiment on the euro. That could quickly change when that actual event comes out. And let's talk about euro dollar, a market which I've got some interest in at the moment. So here's my view on euro dollar. So as you can see, what I've done is I've drawn a daily Fibonacci really from this swing low down here where we've got these equal lows up towards the swing high here. Let me see if the Fibonacci retracement, it does agree with me as well as that being the fib. You could argue as well, if you want to be more aggressive, the fib might be here. But I prefer the total swing move, which is from this low here, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, right, interesting. Actually, do you know what? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with myself here. I like this. I like this as the fib for euro dollar. Now, for those of you who have been into my streams for a while will know that the reason that I'm drawing these fibs is because, you know, I've been adapting my strategy. I mainly use smart money concepts, but sometimes I've struggled with trying to find my area of interest. And I was speaking with Shane about this, and he gave me a tip to try and use the Fibonacci to find an area of interest and then use smart money concepts within that area of interest. And it's working out okay for me. So as you can see, and who is it who asked me the question, Machine X, about euro dollar, your euro dollar long. If I'm being honest with you, I think there's potential for some more downside in euro dollar. And I actually think that, and this is the way that I see it, is that when you've got this daily fib retracement, my area of interest, you know, will be between really this golden area, 61.8 to 0.5. That's my area of interest. And as you can see, I've got a demand zone marked here. If I get rid of the smart money concepts indicator, right, drop that down to the lower time frames. Also get rid of the moving averages. Do apologise if that was a bit confusing. If you look down here, and yeah, I might be being a bit conservative here, and euro dollar could definitely rally from here. We are sort of within that 38.2 to 0.5. It's an area of interest for me, but my biggest area of it, you know, my best area is that what I'm looking for is euro dollar potentially to fall down towards this area, which is around 1.095. It's where this sort of demand zone / order block sits, and it sits right on that 61.8, right in there. And that for me, and it also sits at the 50% of the weekly fib as well. Sorry, it sits at the 61.8 of the weekly fib. Sorry, no idea why I've got that alert set. That's wrong. Probably because I've just changed it. I'm going to move that to 1.09449. 449. And I'm going to put euro dollar daily 61.8 fib and OB, which stands for order block. I know what it means. So I don't want to put you off your trade, Machine X, because your trade could come in well, and I might be being too conservative here, but I do like that zone. We've also got a tiny bit of liquidity in here as well, which we could get taken. So that's my view on euro dollar heading into today. What would we need in terms of the rate decision? Well, we can see we're starting. I wonder what the RSI indicator is telling us. There is clear signs. If you're looking for the bull case, RSI divergence where we've been creating these lows. So that's a good sign for euro dollar bulls. I'm just going to be a bit more patient and wait for the move down here. But we could, we could go from here. We could. What else have I had? Another message in here, Dan. Yes, Lux Algo does have an FEG indicator. You're right. Would it make sense to overlay the SMC? No, because the SMC indicator, I believe it tells us where the fair value gaps are as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, look, the actual Smart Money Concepts indicator, Dan, already tells us where the fair value gaps are. You see where this little box is, where the line through the middle? That's how you know where there's a fair value gap. Okay? So we don't need them both. That's why I deleted it. Okay, another market I wanted to look at was Euro Yen. Get rid of all my drawings on this. No idea what these drawings are. Don't study Euro Yen in that much detail, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, Euro Yen. What sort of situation have we got here at the moment? Well, you can clearly see it's a market which is breaking down, right? And up comes a really, really key, level, and it looks the same on dollar yen as well. This wick down here remains, really, really important. I think if we get a breakdown below here, because what you can see is that 154 area has been support on quite a few occasions. So a slightly more dovish ECB today could see the reversal of Euro Yen. And that's where we move on to those of you who trade the trend rider. Because, lets me do it, as you can see, really nice downside here on the Euro Yen. I know people will say, yeah, but the trend rider is only meant to be on dollar related pairs. Well, you can see it does work on other pairs as well. And for those of you who are looking for, a nice clean opportunity to try and get short here on Euro Yen, we are sort of sitting right on this EMA 12, which is potentially a sign. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit risky, don't get me wrong. But if we targeted this area, you can see that that's quite a nice 2.94 to 1 risk reward, even if you just targeted this wick down here. So I quite like that play, if I'm being honest, because I think we may get a test of 154 on Euro Yen, if I'm being brutally honest with you. So that's really the view on what I see at the moment. Now let me just quickly, I'm actually gonna, I've got my, I'll just quickly, because I actually, you know what, I'm going to place this trade. Why not? I'm going to lower the risk because it's a little bit of a test. I want to see how this market does, how like yen related pairs in general do on the trend rider. What did I say? I think we're going to come down to that low. I'm quite bullish on the yen at the moment. So we got a 2.83 risk versus reward. Is that right? That is right. Thank you. And we'll see how that one goes. You never know. Okay, good stuff. Right. People probably think you're talking about the trend rider. What is the trend rider? Let me tell you what the trend rider is. If you go over to the HowToTrade.com education section, you will notice that in our trading academy, we've not only got a whole educational course, we've also got strategies. And this trend rider strategy, I shouldn't have favourites, so don't tell anyone. But the trend rider is the one that suits me the best. And it's a way to try and catch on to trends. So really what we're trying to do is on dollar related pairs, we're trying to find a trending market. And the way we find a trending market is basically by looking at these different EMAs. If it lets me go on there. So we look at the EMA 12 and the EMA 36. So the EMA 12 is in this blue line and the EMA 36 is in this orange line, okay? What we then look to do is it's for dollar related pairs, so I'll go through dollar because I'm only doing this one as a test, did like 0.5% on it. You set your market to any of these pairs and it can be used on the 1 hour or the 4 hour. and then you use the ADX indicator, which basically determines when you exit the trade. So if I go down to, and sorry, I just had a question on there. Oh, you've just had a question. Matthew says, can I use the trend rider on XAU USD on gold? Yeah, I mean, you can use it on anything really. Mario Singh suggests that you just use it on dollar related pairs, but forex pairs. But I've seen it work on gold before. My gold chart is a little bit of a mess. I do apologise, but you can see we probably haven't quite got the gap yet. But we're just starting to see those moving averages, distance themselves. So we could see finally that test of that high on gold. That's what I'm looking for anyway. So if we go down onto dollar related pairs, yes, that's true, Dan. That is true. It does say that you can use it on anything. I think that in the book that he released, it says that those 7 major currency pairs are the ones you'll find most success on. So let's look at pound dollar, for example. You can see that we've got a crossover of the blue over the orange, which is a bearish crossover, and you can then see we've got potentially a test coming up. Now, what's important is that gap between the EMA 12 and the EMA 36 needs to be at least 30 pips. And in this situation on the pound dollar, it is. Therefore, this is a valid short opportunity for cable on the trend rider. This is the one that I noticed earlier, which upsets me a little bit because I've got a bit more downside to go. I think maybe we could come down to 1.29 on cable. I do believe we can get down to 1.29. Where we go from there will be interesting to see. My demand zone here got sort of invalidated yesterday, and we tested that 1.3 area and have reacted since. So what I'm looking for really is a move up to that EMA 12, and then at least another test of that area of 1.3, and then from there we'll see how that goes. Euro dollar, similar sort of thing, bearish crossover. However, the gap between the EMA 12 and EMA 36, you can see is only 22 pips. The reason we wait for the 30 pip gap is the 30 pip gap tells us that the trend is big enough for us to get involved. So we won't get involved in that just yet. USD yen, as you can see, if we entered there, we would have had success. More success there as well. And success here. So there's 3 nice entries there, which would have pushed us down to new lows. Unfortunately, because it doesn't always work, you can see that we had a nice reaction yesterday, but this morning we're starting to see those moving averages come together a bit here. And therefore what we may see, and what it's an indication of, is that we might see, either that or that, we're not quite sure. I would favour the downside because the trend's bearish, but it's an indication to us that the market started to consolidate. So that's a sign for euro dollar yen, sorry. AD USD, we haven't got anything at the moment. USD CAD, breakout higher. Our first entry wasn't there because the gap was only 30 pips. Our second entry here on USD CAD, again, we wouldn't have entered here because the gap's only 28 pips. And you can see we'd be in a bit of drawdown here. It's important, really important, that we wait for at least a 30 pip gap. USD Swiss franc, we've got a bullish crossover. 19 pip gap at the moment. And NZD USD, which we can see at the moment, no 30 pip gap there. Nothing there either. And again, we're only at a 20 pip gap on NZD USD. So unfortunately, that isn't a trade that I would take right now. I'd want to see this first, and then hopefully when we get that next retest, which might be down here, we'll see those moving averages. Oh, I'm trying to draw a moving average of an arrow. Hopefully we see a bigger gap, which would be like 40 pips. It might look like that. Okay. So if you're new to the strategy, I would recommend going onto our academy and checking it out. You can read all of the PDF documentaries and watch the video as well. PDF documents and watch the video as well. I'm going to do a little experiment with that Euro Yen one. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to post it in the room as well. Let's see how that one goes. Obviously, I've picked that market as well because we should see hopefully some volatility, and I'm leaning towards more of a dovish ECB with the weaker data we've seen than a hawkish one, and that should hopefully push Euro Yen to the downside. I prefer it to dollar yen at the moment. Okay, good stuff. All right, then everybody, good luck to those who are trading Euro today or any European markets. We've also got PPI coming out later in the US as well. So that's going to be a bit of a volatile time to trade those markets, especially Euro dollar. So be careful. But if you've got analysis on a higher time frame, you should be okay. But if you're sort of scalping the markets, then know that you could get wicked out on either side on the back of the release. I'll post a trade idea in the room in a second. Until then, hope everyone has a good trading day and trades well. I'll see you all tomorrow, but I'll also be active in the room. If anyone needs me, you can message me at any time. Thank you very much.